Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Quote of the day. When Allah loves a servant, He tests him. It's by Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. I'm Dr. Muneeb Altaf, and today I'm going to present about the topic of the scope of medical stats, data and variable concept, and classification of the data and its presentation. Learning outcome. Introduction and scope of the medical stats, data and variable concept, and data of and classification of data and its presentation. At the end of presentation, participants will be able to describe about the scope of medical statistics, data, different types of variable, and different classification of data and its presentation. Now, introduction of medical statistics. Statistics is a field of study involved with the techniques or methods of the collection of data, classification, summarizing, interpretation, drawing inference, testing of hypotheses, making recommendation, etc. Only when a part of data is used. Biostats. Medical study is the term referred when tools of statistics are applied to the data that is derived from biological sciences. In other words, when the principles of statistics are applied to the study of organism or living system, the study is called biostatistics or biometry. It encompasses the design of biological experiment, especially in medicine, pharmacy, agriculture, and fishery, the collection, summarization, and analysis of data from those experiments, and the interpretation inference from the obtained result. Statistics in medicine help assess the patient and provide insight into subgroup within a population. Statistics are an essential part of medical research. According to many researchers use statistical tests to determine results from the experiment, clinical trials of medicine, and symptoms of disease. Statistical consideration helps in deciding how many single rooms should be allowed for a patient requiring special treatment, and also in constructing an appointment system which considerably reduce the patient's average waiting time while guaranteeing that the consultants waste very little time during each claim. So this was an example of the statistical consideration. The scope of biostatistics is extensive and cover almost the whole of the biology that deals with generation and analysis of numerical data. Biostatistic is used right from the designing scientific experiment through the data analysis. The scope includes the principle of scientific methodology, defining various types of data and studies, levels of measurement, descriptive statistics, inferential statistics, and hypothesis testing and correlation. The field also includes various predictive methods, the curves and model fitting, including regression analysis, maximum likelihood, Bayesian inference, and principal component analysis. The scope of mathematical biology is equally vast to various application of the mathematics in biology. Besides biostats, this field also encompass the application of other mathematical disciplines, including the probability, number theory, game theory, set theory, neural network, and mathematical modeling, like use of calculus in biology and Fibonacci series and so on. So mathematics is used very often in population genetics, environmental biology, ecology, psychology, evolutionary analysis, enzyme kinetics, and many others. Now, the scope of stats sorry, in physiology and anatomy. to determine what is normal or healthy in a population and to find the limits of normality in variables such as weight and pulse rate. And it is used to find the difference between the means and proportion of the normal at two places or different periods. This The mean height of Bangladeshi, as we can say, for example, the mean height of Bangladeshi boys is less than the mean height of American boys. Whether this difference is due to chance or a natural variation or because of some other factors such as better nutrition playing a part has to be decided. To find the correlation between the two variable x and y axis such as height and weight, whether the whether the weight increases or decreases proportionately with the height, or if so, by how much has to be found. In the medicine, biostat is used to compare the efficacy of particular drugs, operation, or the line of treatment. For example, the percentage people being cured or relieved or died in the experiment and control group is compared with is compared, and difference due to chances or otherwise is found by applying statistical techniques. It is also used to find an association between the two attributes such as cancer and smoking. An appropriate test is applied for this purpose. And to identify the signs and symptoms of a disease or syndrome, cough in thyroid is found by chance and fever is found in almost every case. The proportional incidence of one symptom or another indicates whether it is a characteristic feature of disease or not. And in the community medicine and public health, biostat is used to study the correlation between the attributes in the same population, to measure the morbidity and mortality, to evaluate the achievement of public health program, and to fix the priorities in public health program, and to help promote the health legislation and create administrative standards for oral health, and to test the usefulness of vaccine in the field, the percentage of attacks or deaths among the vaccinated subjects is compared with that the non-vaccinated ones to find whether the difference observed as statistically significant. In epidemiological studies, the role of causative factor is statistically tested, and deficiency such as deficiency of iodine as an important cause of goiter in our community is confirmed only after comparing the incidence of goiter cases before and after giving the iodinized salt. In genetics, stats and human genetics are twin subjects, having grown with each century together, and there are many connections between the two. Some fundamental aspect in particular, the concept of analysis of variation first arose in human genetics, while statistically and probabilistic methods are now central to many aspects of analysis of question in human genetics. Use of biostats in the nutrition. Over the past 2 decades, there have been revolutionary development in the life science technologies characterized by high efficiency and rapid computation. So the nutritionists now have advanced methodologies for the analysis of DNA, RNA, protein, low molecular weight metabolites, as well as access to the bioinformation database. Appropriate statistical analyses are expected to make an important contribution to solving major nutrition associated problems in human and animal, including obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, cancer, aging, and intrauterine growth retardation. The biostat used in the preventive medicine is to provide the magnitude of any health problem in community and to find out the basic factor underlying the ill health and to evaluate the health problem which was introduced in the community and to introduce and promote health legislation. Now, variables. So variable is a in statistical language, any character or characteristic or quality that varies is called variable. A characteristic that takes on different values in different person, places or things such as height, which can or have or different values, weight, blood pressure, and age, etc. is variable. It is denoted usually as or as x. Variable can be of two types, which is the categorical and numerical characteristic. Variable is usually represented by x, such as x1, x2, x3, and so on to xn. Variation is created due to genetic recombination, and variation can be caused by both artificial and natural mutation. So, for example, if you want to test whether some drug is more effective for the diabetes than other, some key variables you might include the amount of drugs you give to the patient, and then the status of the diabetes of the patient being studied, and the variable related to the patient can be good or bad disease control. A random variable is a variable whose value is a numerical outcome of the random phenomenon. For example, flip three coins and let x represent the number of heads. Here, the x is the random variable. So, random variable is not a probability. Its value does not need to be positive or between 0 to 1, as in the case of probability. Now, types of the variable broadly, the variables are divided into two major types: the quantitative variable and categorical or qualitative variables. Categorical variable. Categorical variable represents the group of some kind. They are sometimes recorded as number, but the number represents the categories rather than actual amount of things. There are three types of categorical variable. These are the binary, nominal, and ordinal. So in this table, you can see the type of variable is a binary variable, also known as dichotomous variable. So what does the data represent? It represents yes or no outcome. So that will be two yes or no outcome. Then this will be of binary variable. And the nominal variable, uh, these data show the groups with no rank or order between them. So this will be the no order between them. So that will be nominal variable. And the ordinal in the ordinal variable, groups that are ranked in specific order. So these will be the ordinal variable. Now quantitative variable. When you select the quantitative data, the number you record represent real amounts that can be added, subtracted, or divided. These are of two types of quantitative variable: discrete and continuous. Now the confounding variable. A confounding variable is a variable other than our independent variable, um, other than the random chances that could have caused the group means to be different. For example, independent variable is gender, independent variable is the respiration rate. We run the experiment and find the difference between the two groups is statistical significant. We would like to conclude that gender affect respiration rate. But what if we measure the man in the morning and the woman in the evening? So the time period could account for the significant difference between the group. So the time of the day will be the confounding variable. So in this diagram, you can see the different types, summary of the different types of variable. Firstly, it's categorical and numerical. Then the categorical is divided into nominal and ordinal. The example of the nominal data will be the marital status, eye colors. So these are the defined categories. And the ordinal example of the ordinal will be the rating: good, bad, better, low, uh, mid, or high. So ordered category. So in the sides of a numerical, the types are discrete and continuous, and the example of the discrete variable will be the number of children defects per hour. So it is counted items, and the continuous numerical variable will be the height and voltage. So these are the measured characteristics. So this was the summary of the variables. Now data. Numerical variable is divided into two categories: the qualitative or discrete data and quantitative data. So again, in this picture, it's a categorical and numerical. And numerical is further divided into discrete and continuous. Qualitative data are classified by counting the individuals or things having the same characteristics or attribute, and not by the measurement. Example are the number of cars in a parking lot, the number of quarters in purse, jar, or bank age on the edges on the birthday card. Uh, Individuals with the same characteristics are counted to form the specific group or classes. Qualitative data are discrete in nature, such as the number of deaths in different years, population of different town, person with the different blood groups in a population, and characteristics are the discrete variable have no continuity. So they are called the qualitative variables. Example of the discrete data in the grades, you can grade A, B, or 0 to 100%, or the number of objects or the money is the example of the discrete data. Quantitative or continuous data, a quantitative variable is the variable that has infinite number of possible value. In other words, any value is possible for this data. A continuous data does not have to have every possible number, like infinity to negative infinity to positive infinity. It can also be continuous between the two numbers like 1 and 2. For example, data of discrete variable could be 1, 2, while the continuous variable could be 1 and 2, and everything or anything in between. Then it's like 1. Double zero, 1.01, 1.001. So examples are time it takes a computer to complete a task. A person's weight is the it will be the example of the continuous data, and age. The weight of students from second year are in kgs: 40.9, 45, 40, 55, 54, 5, 53, 54, etc. And so this is how the number varies within a range. In case of the quantitative or continuous data, and there are two variables, the characteristics such as height and frequency. We find the characteristics as well as the frequency both varies from the person to person as well as from the group to group. The quantitative data obtained from the characteristic variable are called the continuous data. So each individual has one measurement from continuous spectrum. Some of the statistical methods employed in analysis of the quantitative data are mean, range, standard deviation, coefficient of variation. So these are the example of continuous data: height, area, and time. So presentation of the data, the data can be presented in the tabular or the graphical presentation. The tabular form, it will be simple table or complex table, and the graphical presentation for quantitative data, it's histogram, frequency polygram, frequency curve, line chart, normal distribution curve, cumulative distribution curve, scatter diagram. And for the qualitative data, it's the bar chart, pictogram, pie chart, and map designs. So these are the measurement scales which are used for the measurement of the data. It's nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. The ratio scale has all the features of interval scale, and in addition, there are absolute or true zero as well. This was all for today. And now it's time for the MCQs. MCQ number one. Variable whose value cannot be expressed numerically are called. A is a quantitative variable, B is qualitative variable, C is absolute variable, D is continuous variable, E is instrumental variable.
B.
B is the right answer, qualitative variable. A study was done to compare the lung capacity of coal miner to the lung capacity of farm worker. The researcher studies 200 workers of each type. Other factors that might affect the lung capacity are smoking habits and exercise habits. The smoking habits of the two types of workers are same, but the coal mining generally do more exercise. So which of the following is a confounding variable in this study? A is exercise, B is lung capacity, C is smoking or not, D is occupation, E is gender.
Alpha.
Alpha is the right answer. Exercise will be a confounding variable in this patient. Which one of the following is not a categorical variable? A is age of person, B is gender of a person, C is choice on a test item, D is marital status of a person, and E is presence of disease. Alpha. Question number 4. Adib is conducting a research on coronary artery disease. He collects data on the numbers of hours of exercise per week from a sample of individual. What type of variable is this? A is the continuous variable, B is dichotomous variable, C is categorical variable, D is ordinal variable, and E is nominal variable.
B. Alpha.
Alpha is the right answer. The continuous, it will be a continuous variable. Question number 5. Ranking students from individual with the highest grades point average, that is GPA, from high to the lowest is an example of alpha is nominal, beta is ordinal, C is interval scale, uh, D is ratio, and E is alphanumeric. B is the right answer. A study was conducted in America to find out the proportion of blacks and white American in California. The variable chosen is continuous, ordinal, dichotomous, discrete, or instrumental.
C.
C is the right answer. It's between the two, so black and white. Question number 7. Kasim is 59-year-old and presented with the continuous significant weight loss from last 3 months. During a ward round, professor talked about the stages of cancer. The stages of a malignant disease cancer is recorded using the symbol 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We may say that the scale used is alphanumeric, numerical, nominal, ordinal, uh, is interval.
Alpha.
Delta is the right answer. It is in an order. That's why it is the ordinal scale. The process of
The
summarizing
process of summarizing
data through tables, graphs, and numerical measure is known as data collection, data analysis, data interpretation, data cleaning, and data presentation.
E.
E is the right answer. Summarizing, organizing data through tables and graph is data presentation. Question number 9, variable that whose calculation is done according to height, weight, and length are known as flowchart variable, discrete variable, continuous variable, measuring variable, is confounding variable.
D.
C is the right
D.
answer. These are the continuous variable. Question number 10. Aslam wants to conduct a clinical trial. Which type of data would be conducted by asking participants to rate their pain on a scale of 0 to 10? A is categorical data, B is discrete data, C is nominal data, D is ordinal data, and E is interval data.
D.
D
Ordinal.
is the right
D.
answer. It should
Ordinal.
be the ordinals. This is the key, and this is the YouTube link, channel link, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Muneeb. Very nice presentation. And especially the MCQ part was good. However, one thing that I have noted is that the font is changing from slide to slide. I would prefer that the same font should be used in future, because you would be presenting on multiple fora and in different important meetings while you are doing your professional work. Wish you a professional success, a lot of good wishes for your future endeavors, as this is your last presentation of the academic session, and very best wishes for your future. Thank you very much, and Allah Hafiz.
Yeah, thank you, madam.